Greetings everyone and welcome back to Kadic Reviews. And as you can see on the screen, you know what the review is for EA Sports UFC 3. Now the UFC series has gone through some tough times. The first game was utter garbage. The second game was better utter garbage. So now after 2 years, one failed game, and some microtransaction controversy, UFC 3 hits us. This third game from EA's point of view with the UFC contract. And I'm happy to report that things are finally looking up. What you are seeing on the screen is the new career mode and how it works. Or as they call it, the GOAT career mode, meaning greatest of all time, which is a theme throughout all of EA's games this calendar year. You're a brand new, just starting out UFC prospect, going from Dana White's internet show looking for a fight from UFC Fight Pass to getting your big UFC contract. And that's after, of course, winning a few minor fights in the minor leagues. In fact, only 2 if everything goes right. But the presentation of it, meaning the story mode and short cutscenes, are impressive, even with small newspaper reports and even small little, I guess you can call it, setup segments between big major fights. Unlike the previous 2 games, however, the career mode decides to focus not just on the training and the fighting, but also for the first time in promotion. Your character is given a Twitter handle of sorts and a social media account. It's up to you between training for your fights by a simple training attribute menu and promoting your fights to make the fights mean more, which will mean a bigger ultimate payday and, of course, more fans as you do things like posting to social media and playing on video game streams. A nice little nod to Twitch there. Your character will gain more popularity and thus more fans to get more money from fights, which is a good thing, and it will net you achievements. But outside of that, you can also learn new moves from your training gym trainees, or like this, or spar. Sparring has an added advantage though. It gets your fighter more ready and fit for the fight, but you'll also learn additional information about the opponent that you will face, weaknesses or offensive strengths that your opponent has that you should beware to avoid. It's a good thing, but of course you only have a limited amount of training points and a limited amount of weeks to train. So you must make these promotion, training, and preparedness decisions knowing how many points you have, which will ultimately lead to the fight that you yourself choose, or in some later cases scheduled for you. As you win bigger and bigger fights and complete contracts, the money goes up, the access to higher level gyms and skills go up, as well as perks returning from the last game. that are done by training menus. But beware, you can also get gym discounts if you stay frequently and support one gym over another. Leaving that gym will lose you the discounts, but leaving to a new gym gives you the chance to learn new moves, or even some gyms are more advanced than others, being able to train you in certain areas that you couldn't train before, which is super important. Yes, there is some major licensed music as well over here. Big name rappers like Tech9, and of course Snoop Dogg, who also applies his voice for the new Knockout mode, are included in the soundtrack. It's serviceable fight music at that. Plus, also in the career mode, you'll be trying to become the greatest of all time by challenging different things like a certain number of knockouts, consecutive wins, submission wins, wins on pay-per-view, etc. All the way to being crowned the greatest. It's a long career mode to be sure, but what you're doing in it could use a little bit more excitement. Going through mostly menus is rather dull, and the dull all-white presentation doesn't help matters either. Unlike in the previous game where there was a story to be told, the story is told in fragments and isn't the center of attention. Sure, the updated menus and such may get you to the fights faster, but it lacks the depth and critical importance to hold your attention outside of stat building. There's also your standard fights and another new mode called Stand and Bang, which is pretty much a no submissions, no ground game mode for those who want a kind of fight night centric mode. And there's a ton of challenges too, and online fights. But come on, you want me to get to the reason this game is controversial, don't you? The Ultimate Team mode. And yes, it's in here. It's improved from the previous two versions, but it's not all that great. I'll get to that here in a sec.
Hey everyone, I'm Megan O'Leary, and this is your UFC Minute. UFC returns this weekend with a fresh face who is destined to make headlines. When UFC President Dana White went looking for a fight, he was hoping that he would end up with a future UFC star. And those are the expectations after he signed a regional champion who has dominated the local lightweight circuit en route to his Octagon debut.
The Ultimate Team mode works by you setting up a set of 4 fighters in each of the different weight classes. Of course, using your traditional bronze, silver, and gold cards. Fighting single-player championships is the easiest way to collect money fast, but they also have the brand new solo challenges, which sadly range from very easy to impossible given your card strength. On top of that, each card needs moves added to their individual movesets and coin boosters through contracts, among other things, to make the fighters more powerful. Of course, as you play games, you'll earn coins for those elusive packs that make up Ultimate Team's usual grind. This is fine in team-based games, because in team-based games, there's a multitude of other players, and there's team chemistry and setup. And plus, in team-based games, with a bunch of players from all around the league, and the fact that you're using several dozen at once, there's a notion of getting mass positions done very quickly, or other things like that. Seeing that this is a one-on-one fighting game, however, it's all based on the boosters, and the boosters and the move effects don't really add the same dramatic pause or care to get them as you would in games like Madden. The packs are mainly filled with boosters with maybe one fighter to give, or added contract space as far as coin boosters, and the solo challenges needing certain requirements, and the fact that right now, at the early release of this game, the game came out on my birthday after all, there isn't enough content to justify the Ultimate Team mode right now. Plus, it just doesn't work in a one-on-one fighting game situation. Not only is the mode too complicated to play with its multitudes of systems and boosters, it just doesn't feel nearly as exciting as playing FIFA or Madden. This mode either needs to be massively co-op tweaked or dropped. One of the two, and very quickly. As far as actual gameplay goes, there are new meters for every part of the body, and now there are high and low blocks, as well as stamina meters. The stamina meters can determine how quickly you are knocked out during a fight, as well as there's an improved submission system, but it doesn't work nearly as well and doesn't differentiate itself from UFC 2. But what does is the game's visuals, and most notably its ground and pound. Using the right analog stick once you're on the ground, you can make smooth and easy transitions from top to bottom mount, or to any sides that you would want. The same is true in the clinch as well. And with a great visual HUD, you'll be able to see what you're up to. You just have to remember to hold the right analog stick in place. Plus, all your typical power punches and elbows are still there with the bumpers. But now that lower punches are done with the left trigger, hitting the body or making body impacts are a lot easier, and hooks are given more priority. Stamina meter is key, and the fighting does feel closer than it's ever been to UFC in real life, but it's still not perfect. The career mode could be better. That's why I give UFC 3 only an 8 out of 10. This game's on the right track, but it still needs improvement.